Hey everyone, this is Pallavi and today I'm going to show the 19th game of the book Logical Chess Move by Move by Erving Chernev. This game was played between Grünfeld and Schenkein in Vienna in 1915 and the opening was Queen's Gambit declined. Let's start. So white played d4. With this move, white is occupying the center and releases two pieces at the same time, the bishop and the queen. Black replied with d5. Black is also occupying the center and releasing the bishop and the queen. White played c4, offering a pawn so that black's pawn center will be destroyed and white can regain the lost pawn later without any trouble. White is threatening to play c takes d5, queen takes d5, knight c3, queen a5 and e4, and white will have two pawns in the center. Black played c6. After c4, black played c6. Black is ready to meet c takes d5 with c takes d5, recapturing with a pawn in order to maintain a pawn in the center. The pawn must be available to advance to c5 and attack white's d pawn to open the c file for the use of black's heavy pieces. So after c6, white played knight to f3. Why doesn't white play c5? There are 5 reasons for that. Number 1, it is a good strategy to maintain tension in the center to keep pawn position fluid, not static. Number 2, in advancing to c5, white gives up his attack on the c5 on the enemy center and the option of exchanging pawns when it is worthwhile to do so. Such an exchange might be the means of demolishing black's whole center. Number 3, the c5 square should be an outpost for a piece, not a pawn. A piece posted there exerts tremendous effect on black's whole queen side. Number 4, placing a pawn at c5 closes the c file and makes it useless for the operations of the queen or the rooks. And number 5, in the opening, pieces, not pawns, should be moved. So that is why white did not play c5. And now white played knight to f3, developing towards the center. Now black played e6. A quiet move strengthens the center and frees the bishop on f8. Black's intentions are still unclear. He might capture the c4 pawn and then try to hold on to it by playing b5 and support. Or he might go in for the stonewall formation by playing f5 followed by knight f6 and then knight to e4, the stonewall formation. So after e6, now white played e3, protecting the c4 pawn with the bishop and makes way for the f1 bishop. Black played knight f6. Black did not go for the stonewall formation and went for the piece development towards the center, which influences the d5 and the e4 square. Now white played bishop d3, develops the bishop on an open diagonal, makes way for castle and also controls the e4 square. Black played knight b d7, develops a knight where it supports an eventual thrust at white's center by c5 or e5. Develops the knight where it supports the other knight on d7 and it can replace the other knight when it's needed. Now white played knight b d2. The two purposes of this knight move is to develop on a square where it supports the advance of e4 and to recapture the pawn when black captures d cross c4 with knight cross c4 and he can go to knight e5 or the other knight can move to e5. So it will be strongly supported. So after knight b d2, black played bishop to e7, develops the bishop and makes way for the castle. Now white played short castle, king safety and rook activation. Black replied with queen c7, another quite developing move which might better have been replaced by the aggressive c5 and fight for equal rights. Now white played a good move, e4. This resembles the Cole device for breaking up the position in the center and opening lines of attack of the pieces crouched in the background. Now black replied with d cross e4, d takes e4. Black cannot allow the pawn to go to e5 as it would drive the f6 knight away and put it completely out of action. White replied with knight takes e4. The knight recaptures as well as gets out of the way of the c1 bishop. Black played knight takes e4. Black recaptures with the knight to relieve his constricted position. White had to capture. The exchange of pieces suits white too, as it gives more scope for the activities of his pieces, especially the wide-ranging bishops. So after bishop takes e4, black played knight f6. The attack on the bishop gains black tempo while giving his queenside pieces a bit more room. White played bishop to c2. From this bishop's move, white enjoys some advantages, such as his bishops have a great range of attack. He dominates the center with pawns. He controls the strategically important e5 square. His major pieces can operate with great effect on the center files. Black played b6. Better was to play c5, as it would open up the position and black's pieces would move freely. But black played b6 to develop his bishop at c7. White played queen e2. Off the back rank strengthens the e4 square and makes it impossible for black to play e5. Black replied with bishop b7, develops his bishop and is set to play c5 in the next move and operate on the long diagonal. Had black played c5 instead of bishop to b7, then white can play d5, attacking the center, and then followed by rook to e1. If black captures the pawn, and then white can play rook e1, stopping black from castling and threatening to play bishop f4 followed by queen d8, bishop a4 check, bishop to d7, and then bishop c7 could move, gaining the queen, because if the queen moves and captures the bishop, then queen takes e7 and checkmate. So after queen a2, black played bishop to b7, and now white played knight e5. A good move, a magnificent outpost for the knight. He now controls 8 squares and accentuating black's difficulties in gaining freedom of his pieces. Now black played rook d8. Had black played c5, then again bishop a4 check would force black king to move, as black cannot block the check with any of his pieces, as it would not have enough support, and moving the king would lose his right to castle. So black played rook d8. Black mobilizes the rook while attacking the d4 pawn. It is too late to play c5. So here white played rook d1. Rooks belong on open files or on files likely to be opened. Here white brings his rook out and supports the pawn. Black still cannot play c5 because of bishop a4 check. So after rook d1, black played short castle, finally putting the king to safety. Before white makes his next move, let's sum up his advantages. His position in the center, restraining the free movements of the enemy pieces. His queen attacks 9 squares while black's queen is limited to 5. His bishops control 13 squares, whereas black's are limited to 7. His knight enjoys wonderful mobility while black's knight can only retreat. Clearly, white has positional superiority. Now, after short castle, white played another good move. Bishop to f4 develops with a threat against the queen. It intends to play knight to g6, a discovered attack, and wins an exchange. Black played bishop d6, prevents the discovered attack. Now white played c5. Another good move, trying to dislodge the black bishop and permanently seal up black's queenside position. Black played b takes c5. This was forced, as if black had played bishop takes e5, then that would lead to bishop takes e5, attacking the queen and the knight. And if the queen moves to c8, then bishop takes f6, g takes f6, bishop takes h7 check, king takes h7, queen h5 check, king g7, queen g4 check, king h7, rook d3, and followed by rook h3 checkmate. And after bishop takes e5, bishop takes e5, queen c8, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, bishop takes h7. After that, if king moves to h8, and then queen can come to h5, king g7, bishop g4, sorry, queen g4 check, king h8, and then rook d3. Let's say black plays e5 to attack the white queen, then white can play bishop a5 followed by rook h3 checkmate. So that is why black played b takes c5, not bishop takes e5. Now white took the pawn with the pawn, and now black played bishop cross e5. Had black played bishop takes c5, then knight g6, again it's a discovered attack. So bishop takes e5, and now white played bishop takes e5, attacks the queen and keeps black on the run. Black replied with queen e5. Had black played queen to e7, then bishop d6, it's a skewer. Had black played queen to c8, then bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, queen g4 check, king h8, queen h4, threatening to checkmate at h7. And let's say black plays f5, and then queen f6 check, king g8, h4, intending to push the pawn to h6, and then checkmate by queen g7. Now let's say black plays rook to d7, and then, to bring his queen to d8, then white can play rook takes rook, queen takes rook, and then rook d1, attacking the queen. Queen moves away, pawn to h5, and threatening either h6, then queen g7, or rook d3 and rook g3 checkmate. So after bishop takes e5, black played queen a5. Now white played another good move, bishop takes f6, captures the best defender of the king side. Now white played g takes f6, black played g takes f6, had to recapture, and now black's king side is torn apart. Now white played queen g4 check, leaves black with only one reply, which is king h8. Now white played queen h4, threatening to checkmate on the next move. Now black had to play f5, the only defense, and white played queen e7, another good move, getting inside black's position, attacking the b7 bishop. Now black played bishop to c8. Had black played rook to b8 to support the bishop, then queen f6 check, king g8, rook d3, followed by rook g3 checkmate. And if here black plays f4, then rook h3, again a threat on h7, and then rook f d8, making space for the king, but rook cross h7 and checkmate follows. So black played bishop to c8. Now white played b4, the knockout blow. The queen is forced off the diagonal, leading to the rook at d8. It was supporting the rook. The rook needs a protection, and now black resigned. What can black do? If black had captured, then rook takes d8, rook takes d8, queen takes d8, and white wins. And instead of queen takes b4, if black plays rook f e8, then queen f6 check, king g8, and pawn takes queen, and white wins. And instead of rook f e8, if black plays rook takes d1 check, then rook takes d1, threatening queen takes f8 checkmate, or pawn takes queen. So that was the game. So from this game, we learned few more principles, such as occupy the center with pawns, develop your pieces towards the center, try developing your pieces as quickly as possible, castle as early as possible. In the opening pieces, not pawns, should be moved. It is good strategy to maintain tension in the center to keep pawn position fluid, not static. Rooks belong on open files or on files likely to be opened. I hope you learned something from this game as well. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.